All right, great. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Josie Thompson, and I will be facilitating today's workshop on how to clear blocked energy of stress and anxiety in your body. And this is something that I've become a little bit of an expert in because I've had those blocks going on for a long time. And I've constantly been learning new ways of being able to effectively clear those. So I'm going to show you today some very, very powerful, proven and effective strategies for doing this for yourself. However, this session is only going to be as helpful as you're going to allow it to be. So before we get into any content at all, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the journey we're going to take today. And then I'm going to ask you some very specific questions to get you primed and receptive to the possibility of your reality being different. Because if your mindset and your heart isn't open, it's really going to be tough to do any of this properly. So we're going to go on a bit of a journey. I'm going to share with you quite authentically 3 or probably 4 practices that I've found that are very, very effective to clearing these energy blocks. We're going to have a bit of a discussion about, well, what are these energy blocks? How does stress and anxiety and traumatic experiences get trapped in the body? But more so, why is it and how is it that they continue to affect us today? Even when these things that might have occurred happened years and years ago. So it's really important to kind of understand that everything's energy, but why and how does it get trapped in the body? And more importantly, how can we release it? And the big thing is, do you really want to release it? That almost sounds like a crazy question, because there's a part of you that probably thinks, well, of course I want to release it. Why wouldn't I want to release it? But sometimes you just got to stop and pause and think to yourself, well, who's keeping it there? Right. And that's a really tricky question, because oftentimes we're so busy just focusing on the fact that we've got these blocks and these discomforts in our body, but we don't actually stop and think about, we kind of know where they came from, but we don't stop often and think about who's keeping them blocked in our bodies. Because no one can do that to you without your authority. It's your body. You're the boss of this thing. But we don't often remember that. So today's going to be hopefully a really empowering session, and I want to make it as valuable for you as possible. So if you have any questions at all as we go, please use the chat box, and I'm going to get to your questions probably at the end, or probably there'll be some sections during our session today for me to go. So as I said, the videos are optional, whether you leave it on or off. But I have put you on mute just to make sure that we don't have any distractions, so you have a clear sounding quality recording that you can access as much as you want after today. So today will be kind of like a real supportive awareness training for you. And I want you to feel as safe and as comfortable as possible for giving these practices a go, so that you can create new sustainable habits that will support you long past this webinar. So ultimately, I've designed this session to help you reduce stress, panic, anxiety, grief, and the biggest virus I think out there is fear, so that we can cultivate much greater calm, inner peace, and much needed empowerment, right? So that once you feel that sense of clarity from within, you get that clarity of mind, you will have the confidence to navigate your thinking, your decisions, and what you choose to do with your life. Now, the only job you have to do to make the most out of this session is manage your environment. So please minimize any distractions you might have. If you have a mobile phone around, pick it up right now and turn it off or put it on silent, not even vibrate, and put it right out of view so that it doesn't distract you in any way, shape, or form. So it's really important that you give this time totally for you, because this is obviously a time you probably don't make for yourself very often. And so I want you to really get the most out of this so that you can totally be here now. So whatever you need to do to allow yourself to focus and give to you and receive to you, I need you to take care of those needs. If at any point in time with any of the practices that I show you today, it feels a bit uncomfortable or you don't like it or whatever, just stop. Look after your own needs, okay? And then later on, as you're listening to the recording over and over, you might find that you might inch in and lean in a little bit differently as you go, but just take it at your own pace. The important thing is, if you genuinely want to change, and if you genuinely want to shift things, that you give yourself permission, even though it might look or sound a bit simple or a bit nuts, right? Which I am, just give it a crack, give it a go. Don't just assess it and judge it as being nonsense and not useful or helpful without giving it a go. At least have the experience and then decide whether it was helpful or not, rather than just totally discount it and not giving yourself an opportunity to really experience what it could have provided for you. Now, I want to get you right into the car with me today. So I want you to use the chat box, and I've got a question for you. The first question is, are you willing for things to be different in your body and in your life right now? And I want to give you an opportunity here to actually type in a rating out of 10. So go to the chat box, and out of 10, I want you to type in, how much are you willing to have a change occur? How much are you willing to actually have these energy blocks shift from your body? So we've got an 8, we've got a 10. Wow, that's good. 10, 8. All right, 7. There's no judgment here. Just be honest with yourself. This is just for you. Am I actually willing? I like the idea of it, but am I willing for it to be different? 7, 8, 8, 9. Okay, cool. All right. So I want to ask the next question then. So you might be willing. The second question is, how open are you to having a shift in these energies in your body? So you might be willing, but are you actually open? So give yourself a rating out of 10. Again, no judgment at all. Just type your answers into the chat box. So how open are you? So we've got high scores here. We've got 9, 9, 10, 10. Okay. 10. Well done. All right. This is encouraging. 9, 10. Well, you're going to get tested today, guys. I hope that's true. All right. And the final question is, so you're saying you're willing, you're saying you're open. Here's the clincher. Are you ready? Are you ready to have these blocks released from your body today? So think carefully here before you type in your answer. So out of 10, are you ready to actually release these blocks from your body? So we've got an 8, we've got a 7, 10. Maria, you're very keen. 10, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Wow, these are high scores. You know, I don't think I would have put those high scores up if you'd asked me a little while ago. But for me, you know, I don't want you to get to where I am now. I might look okay on the outside, and a lot of people do, but we never really know what's going on for people, right? For me right now, I have a very incurable condition, which has come about from pushing myself way beyond capacity and beyond my limits. And my nervous system now, my autonomic nervous system, actually can't relax and rest. So I have been working really hard over the last 8 months since I've had this diagnosis to figure out how can I create spaces of calm, inner peace, and rest within my body when my body it's kind of forgotten how to do it, because I've been running on adrenaline as a single mum with a mortgage and 2 kids in private school and feeling like I couldn't stop. And that's come at a huge cost to me now. And I don't want anyone to get to this situation. All right, because it's pretty tough, like surviving on, say, 3 or 4 hours a day. It gets really draining. And so what happens is that when you say that you're willing, open, and ready to have a shift, that means you're all in, right? If you typed in, and I know you did, anywhere from 7 to 10, I really want to acknowledge you for the courage that you're going to have today in stepping in to taking full responsibility to create a new reality for yourselves, right? So you said that you're willing, you said that you're open, and you said that you're ready. So here's the last question I'm going to ask you before I go straight in, all right? How committed are you? All right, so that means commitment. 5 or 6 means I've got my phone beside me and I'm just going to check my emails as we go because something important might come in. But 9 or 10 will be my phone's actually switched off or it's way out of view and it's on silent and I'm not going to let anything else distract me from this session today. So using your chat box, I want you to type in and I'm going to go and check in there. Out of 10, how committed are you to getting the most out of this session? Right. Yeah, this is what I want to see. 9s and 10s, 8. Okay, cool. Excellent. Because this is that question there is a demonstration for your commitment to yourself. It's not your commitment to me. It's your commitment to you. And if you really want your life to be different, if you really want to change, you really want to clear this body so that you can have ease, grace, flow, calm, clarity, and empowerment, you've got to commit to you. All right. You've got to want it for you because no one else can do this work for you. It would be really nice if someone could come and wave a magic wand and do that, but we're doing it. And so let's jump straight in now. So I want to talk about, well, what are these energy blocks? These energy blocks are experiences that you have as a consequence of living life that then get stuck somewhere in your body. We're going to talk about that in a little bit because where they get stuck has a huge lesson for you and they're unique to the experience that you have to learn in this lifetime. So energy blocks can be experiences that you have on the outside that have created anxiety, hurt, trauma, distress, stress, anything, fear, right? And when you have those experiences, what happens is they create an energy within your body. So even though something's happening outside, your body responds in an energetic way. Everything is energy. Now, there's 2 types of energy. There's what's called expansive energy, and this is energy that makes you feel good, your heart's open, your mind's open, and you lean into it, right? So when it's a nice sunny day, I go outside straight away and I go, oh, how good is this? Or if I see someone I like or someone that I know, I want to move towards them and my heart and my mind and my body is open to being in space with those people. Then the other kind of energy that we experience is actually energy called contraction. And contraction are those experiences that we have that have us like literally contract. You know what I'm talking about here. And these experiences create those feelings of stress, anxiety, trauma, fear. And straight away, even when I say those words, you will feel the energy of those words, let alone the experiences. Now, when we have those experiences, the body doesn't feel safe. And when the body doesn't feel safe, it kind of goes, whoa, I need to get away from here. Right? It wants to get away from that experience right now. But sometimes we're unable to get away from those experiences right now. And the body goes into like a freeze or a bracing state. When the body does that, instead of the energy or information flowing through you like a stream and just being released like the water goes down the stream, it actually gets blocked like there's a rock in the river. So when you notice if you've got a river and you put a rock in the middle, the water's got to go around it. but the rock doesn't move. That's what these energy blocks are. And that what happens is they get lodged in different parts of the body, depending on what that life lesson is about for you. So we're going to talk today about where do they get lodged, because there's 7 energy centers called chakras in the body. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and what each of those energy centers represent in order for you to understand what is that lesson that this body of mine is trying to teach me. We are born inside this beautiful, perfect physical form. Then life happens. And as life happens, we start to judge, right? We firstly start comparing to the external world, and then we judge ourselves and compare ourselves to the external world. And that's where we get into strife, because all of a sudden, this perfect form that was birthed, right, like a diamond, when we came into this earth, becomes full of flaws. We're no longer perfect. And then what happens is when we go and look in the mirror, we actually see the flaws. You know, we keep comparing with the outside world, and we start internalizing some of these comparisons. You're not as good as this person. You can't do this as good as that person, or why can't you be like this? And so we start seeing the imperfections of who we are rather than what's okay. You know, and again, those thoughts create blockages. And I'm going to show you how we're going to release all of that today as well. So you up for this? Give me a thumbs up. Go to reactions. Give me a thumbs up. You're listening. You're in. Great. All right. So before we get into the first tool that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you this beautiful little picture that I found. Where are we? Share screen. And here it is. And there we go. Can you see that? And I'm going to share a little story that was written by a really good friend of mine called John Rodell. I think you're going to like this story. My brain and heart divorced a decade ago over who was to blame about how big of a mess I have become. Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other. Now, my head and heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week, and my heart gets me on weekends. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week, and their notes that always say something like, "This is all your fault." On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down in the past. And on Wednesdays, my head lists all the times my heart has screwed things up for me in the future. They blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So lately, I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist. Most nights, I sneak out of the window of my rib cage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair that's always open for me. And I just sit and sit and sit until the sun comes up. Last evening, my gut asked if I was having a hard time being caught between my head and my heart. I nodded. I said I didn't know if I could live with either of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that's happened yesterday, while my head is always worried about something that may happen tomorrow. Does this sound familiar? My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with my mistakes of the past or my anxiety about the future, I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should go and stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you are exhausted about your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focus on the uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There is no tomorrow there either. There is only now. There is only inhale There is only exhale. There is only this moment. There is only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and head work out their relationship. So this morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves, and while my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed up a little bag and walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile. And as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?" I love that little story. And I'm curious about, for you, having heard that, what did that raise for you? Use your chat box. Tell me, your head and heart, what sort of relationship have they been in? And what did that raise for you? Your responses. I think I have to stop the share to check out your chats. Yeah, take time to let things settle. My lifetime, yeah, the feeling, the need to spend more time being present. Yep, exactly how I'm feeling. Take a breath. Absolutely. But it sounds simple. And if it was that simple, you would have been doing it, right? We'd all be doing it. I bounce back and forth. Absolutely. But the thing I want you to hear is this. The fact that you can observe that your brain can get a little crazy sometimes and that your heart kind of opens or contracts sometimes, that's got to give you a clue about something. And the thing I want you to get is, if you can observe your thoughts and you can notice your body and your feelings, guess what? You are not those thoughts and you are not those feelings. In fact, you're not this body. Now I'm really going to mess with your heads, right? I really want to mess with your heads today because that's been the problem. That's been my problem over many years, where I've just had a thought and thought it belonged to me and it was mine, and my identity came from how I thought and how I feel. But what I've realized is we are so much bigger and more powerful than any thought and any feeling that you will experience in this body. The fact that you can observe your thoughts, notice your feelings, notice how your body's reacting, you're not any of that. You are the awareness of your thoughts. You are the awareness of the experiences that you're having. Now, this will kind of be a little bit of you might have a bit of a cognitive dissonance going on, and that's great. Just hold space with me for a minute. All right. I want to put a circuit breaker in your experience, because by putting the circuit breaker in there, your brain can go, whoa, hang on a minute. This kind of makes sense, but doesn't make sense. It hasn't been my experience, but I kind of like where this girl's going, right? Because what it means is that you're in this vehicle, and sometimes you're in the driver's seat when you become totally aware and you're choosing how to navigate. But actually, most of the time, you're probably in the back seat because your body and your brain is leading your life. So today, I want you to be able to take this thing called the seat of awareness, where you're kind of observing everything that's going on, and you're taking a more empowered position to choose willfully how you want to navigate your life. How does that sound? Are you with me? Are there any questions? Just want to check before I get on with this. So I'm going to go into practical strategies with this. All right, so let me go back to my share screen. Fantastic. Here we go. So one of the things I want to show you, so we've talked about the fact that there's two types of energies. There's expansive, right? And there's contraction. And we know that you are not any of that, right? But the blocks get into your body. The first thing we have to do is calm ourselves down. So in that story that I just shared with you, we talk a lot about the lungs, we talk about the breath, because the first thing that changes when you get excited is what? It's actually the breath. The first thing that changes when you get scared or anxious, guess what? The breath. And that then affects the heart rate, right? They're the big things that change. So what I want to do, first of all, is show you how do you calm your farm. It's actually really, really simple. So I want you to do this with me. Doesn't matter if you're in public space, you're not going to look strange. I want you to take a hand and put it on your chest, anywhere on your chest. And I want you to notice what happened to your breath the second you put your hand on your chest. And by the way, I didn't tell you that your breath was going to change at all. But I want you to notice what's happening with your heart rate and your breath while your hand is on your chest. What you'll notice is your inhalation gets a little bit deeper. And if you're fully present, your exhalation will also get a little longer. And that's without me giving instructions to you or your body or your heart or your breath. That's a natural thing that occurs the second you put your hand anywhere on your chest. It's called heart coherence. So you're going to learn a lot about your hands today as well, because one of the really powerful tools I'm going to teach you involves your hands and your fingers, because we have 144,000 energy points on our hands. And they're kind of electrical circuit points, right? And everything's energy. And guess what the heart is? Energy. So it's like putting the socket into the plug. So the second you put your hand on your heart, the heart goes, it's almost a sense of support, connection, reassurance that you're here for me, right? You're there for you. So that's a really quick way of getting yourself into a more coherent, calmer space swiftly. So if you're going into, I know recently I had a significant person pass away in my life, and I did the eulogy along with one of my cousins, and he struggled big time with his eulogy. And before going into the church, I pulled him aside and I said to him, hey, if tears start to overwhelm you, all you do, don't get self-conscious about it, even though there's a lot of people there. Just take your hand and put it on your chest somewhere. And he did it. Halfway through his talk, he lost it. And he put his hand on his chest, and I could see, because I was standing behind him, his shoulders raised because he took this big inhalation, and then his body just went, oh, and then he continued. So he was able to continue with what he needed to do without the emotions actually taking over his experience. So that's something I just want you to try. Okay, so when you get into those moments of overwhelm or anxiety, right, or self-consciousness, just put your hand there and just notice what happens. Even in meetings, if you feel challenged by somebody and you're starting to feel a bit, a bit anxious about what's going on or fearful, just put your hand under your jacket, just put your hand there and just lean in, and you'll just feel a little bit more settled. Okay, so let's dive in. So what I just did, the whole thing today is all about how do I cultivate a sense of inner peace, calm, clarity, and happiness. Well, you've got to do it yourself. Right. So this is what I'm doing today. I'm putting you in your driver's seat so that you can create this for yourself. No one can actually take it away. No experience can actually take it away. It will embed, right, one of these blocks if you don't allow yourself to fully feel it and allow it to pass through you, so that you take the lesson, you don't hold on to it thinking, I've got to remember this for next time. And so you're constantly in this brace position looking out for the next threat, right? You just want to experience this horrible experience, take the lesson and notice that you actually learned something. You're now resourced to meet that experience if it ever happened again, but you can let that one go. You actually don't have to hold on to it for remembering it. You know, like some people collect coins, some people collect stamps, some people collect spoons, some people collect negative experiences. Like, why do we do that? The fact that those things happened, did they happen? Yes, they did. Were they horrible? Yes, they were. But who's holding on to them? Who's repeating them in your mind or in your body? It's you. So today, these things I'm going to show you is a way of not negating, did they happen? Were they awful? Of course, they did happen. They were awful and they did hurt you. But why are you holding on to them? You're the one that's suffering, and I don't want you to suffer anymore. So let's get into practice. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the 7 energy centers in the body and what they are and how they work. So essentially, there are 7 main energy centers in the body that serve different purposes in terms of our growth. So the first energy center is down in our pubic area, and it's called the root chakra. And this is all about money, you know, careers, safety, security, and family. So these are a lot of where we get our initial identity from in the world, and our core experiences start here. The next energy center is between that area and the belly button. So it's below the belly button. It's called the sacral. And this is where we start. It's the center of feelings. It's where we have this sense of craving, wanting, and sense of desires. And this is where we get our sense of peace, harmony, and balance from. All right. The next one is between the belly button and that dip underneath your ribs. And that's called the solar plexus. And this is where your empowerment center is. So this is about your power, your control. The next one's the heart chakra, and this is all about giving and receiving love. What I've found over the years is sometimes we can get into imbalance here. I know for me, for a very long time, I was much better at giving than I was receiving. And that's been and I knew I had a huge block there. And that's one that I've been working on for a long time in terms of being able to clear that. The next one, which is one that I've had as well, which is where I had the first cancer, is the throat chakra. And this is all about your expression and expressing your truth. And this is one that I think a lot of people can have some blockages around, especially if, like for me, I was the eldest daughter in a large Italian family, and duty and obligation was my middle name. So it actually wasn't okay to say no. I felt this huge sense of obligation and duty. And so I always felt this blockage there in my throat because I couldn't say what I really wanted to say. And so I wasn't surprised when the first area of cancer that I experienced was in my throat, because I had that block there. All right. Then the 6th center is your third eye, which is just actually in between the eyebrows. And this is about being able to acknowledge the truth. So your truth is here, what's true for you based on your values, but that truth is being able to see very clearly the nature of reality. So maybe everything's in perfect order, but my judgment will stop me from taking the lesson because I want it to be different. So that blurs the line in my capacity to see the truth of reality because I don't like it, right? So this takes a bit of effort to open up. And then ultimately we've got the crown chakra, which is up the top, which is all about understanding, receiving wisdom and guidance from a much bigger area. So with your permission, I'm going to stop share for a second. I'm going to ask you now if it would be okay if I lead you through a very brief practice to get in touch with each of these energy centers. And what I want you to do is I want you to have one hand on your heart and the other hand, depending on the energy center we're going to look at first, is on that energy center or just close to that energy center if you don't want to touch your body. So it's up to you. All right. And I'm going to just gently take you through a practice of connecting with that energy center and offering an affirmation to that energy center. And all I want you to do is I want you to notice expansion or contraction, open or closed. That's all I want you to notice. We're going to do all 7, and then you're going to have a clue to where some of your blocks might be. All righty. So right now, I want you to give yourself permission, if it's comfortable for you, just to lower your gaze, or if you can, totally close your eyes and just become really present with your breath and with your body. I want you to place one hand on your heart, and the second hand, I want you to place on your first chakra, down near your pubic area. And as I offer you these words, I invite you to repeat them to yourself. If you're by yourself, say them out loud. But if you're at work or somewhere else, just say them to yourself. First chakra. I am willing to let go of all fears, worries, and situations related to money, career, safety, and security. I know that I am perfectly protected and that all my needs are abundantly covered. Lum. Breathe. Now move your hand to the area between your belly button and the lower abdomen. I release all my desires and cravings. I renounce all fears and negative thoughts that prevent me from feeling peace, harmony, and balance. All my thoughts and emotions flow harmoniously. All my desires are perfectly balanced. Vam. Breathe. Move your hand now up to your third chakra between your belly button and the top of your ribs. And repeat after me. I am willing to let go of all fears and situations that have to do with power and control. I fully accept my inner power. It's okay to be in control of my power and use it for my ultimate good and the good of others. Rum. Breathe. That's it. Place your hand now on top of the other hand on your heart. I voluntarily release all fears and worries related to giving and receiving love. My heart is open and flowing freely with love for myself and others. I allow myself to give and receive love easily. Yum. Breathe. Bring your hand now to your throat. I voluntarily release all fear and negativity that prevents me from expressing my truth. I lovingly speak my truth and allow my higher self to speak through me. I use my words to create beauty in this world. Breathe. Bring your hand now to your eyebrows. Repeat after me. I voluntarily release all fears of looking to the past, present, and future. I release any fears that I may have of seeing the truth. My vision is perfectly ordered and illuminated by love. I trust my intuition. Om. Breathe. Placing your hand on the top of your head now. That's it. I allow the light to dissolve any barriers that prevent me from receiving wisdom and guidance. I give up all fear and open myself to listen to my soul and higher self. Breathe. Bringing both your hands into a prayer position in front of your heart. I am in balance and harmony with the whole universe. Breathe. Okay, when you're ready, just open your eyes, bring your hands down, and just share with me, where did you notice the greatest expansion in that exercise? Of the 7 energy centers, where was your greatest expansion? Where did you feel that? Throat, beautiful. Top of your head, wonderful. Solar plexus, heart. Okay, cool. Heart, beautiful. So greatest solar plexus. Okay, wonderful. Top of the head. Wow. Gosh, that's amazing if you've got it up here already. Throat, and I'll explain why in a moment. Throat, fantastic. So what happens is the energy goes from the bottom to the top. All right, so I'll bring that picture back up. So the energy flows from top to bottom, or from bottom to top actually, and where it gets blocked on its way up. And what we want to do is get the energy up to the top of the head. But generally, it will get blocked somewhere. Usually what I've found working with people is somewhere between the solar plexus and the throat. So actually taking my power back from things that have happened in my world is that third center. The heart oftentimes has been wounded from different experiences. So the more and more you can start to actually offer love and understanding and compassion to yourself, the more the rigidity here starts to soften. And all you need to do sometimes literally is just give the command to the area and just say, heart, I wish to grow. I ask my heart to open more fully. And the second you ask it to open fully, guess what? It will. Your head will interfere, right? Because the head will be full of judgment and will try to remind you of historic things and then worry about it happening again. And this is why you should keep yourself in a brace position. But the actual fact is, if you actually take the lesson and you actually learn it, you can take that rock out of the river and allow the flow to come up. And so you will go from the heart to the throat. So all of a sudden you're feeling more fully and you're more able to say, actually, whilst I really want to share time with you, tonight doesn't work You're able to express your truth in a totally loving way without fear of someone else's rejection or judgment at all, because you're not judging yourself anymore. And because you're not judging yourself anymore, you're less likely to start judging the world outside of you. It kind of is what it is, right? And that's where you get into truth, the truth center, where you start to see the truth of everything. How do you know for sure that the reason that person hasn't called you back is because you've done something wrong? Seriously, it's not all about you. That's just all story, right? And so you're able to see it for what it is. And ultimately, you get to the top of the head where it's like, wow, I can actually call forth the guidance and the wisdom I need to navigate whatever's going on in my life and trust it rather than doubt it with my head or heart and body that tries to interfere, because you start to get the blocks going up. So the more you start to open this channel, the more the light and the wisdom of a much bigger source is able to work through you. All right. So are we ready to move on? So I really want to share these other two things with you. The next practical strategy I want to share with you is something called Jinshin Jutsu. And it's not martial arts, although it looks like it on the screen. What it is this modality that I was trying to talk to you about before. You remember how I said there's over 144,000 energy centers, energy points in the hand. And each of these fingers, right, have a specific emotion attached to them. And I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to go through practice. And the whole idea with this practice is that we're going to take one finger at a time. So say for the thumb, we're going to start. So whether you're right hand or left hand, it doesn't matter which hand you go first. We're going to take it into the palm of the opposite hand, just wrap it around. You don't want to squeeze it so you're cutting off circulation, but you do want to feel the embrace of the hand and the thumb over the top of the finger that you're going to be working on. What we're going to do, we're going to practice it for 2 breaths. We're going to do one thumb and then switch to the other thumb, and I'm going to walk you through the emotion associated with the thumb, which, by the way, is worry, right? So when babies are born, they suck their thumb and there's this nervousness and energy, and that's all about worry, right? As adults, we can't suck our thumbs. It would look a bit strange, but we can do this under a desk while I'm talking with someone, and you wouldn't know that I'm doing it. And you're going to see the difference. You're going to actually feel the difference when you do this practice with me now. The second one, the pointer finger, again, just wrap it up in the other hand. This one is all about fear. So whenever you're fearful, you just literally do this, and you'll notice the energetic blocking and contraction of fear starts to soften in the body. The grip of fear starts to soften. All right. The third one, the middle finger, guess what that's about? Anger. I nearly put it up. I didn't want to offend you. Sorry if I did. So you just wrap that one up, and that when you're getting really angry about something, notice this will just settle you down, literally calm your farm. Right. And then we'll do it to the other finger. We're only going to do 2 breaths each finger. The ring finger is all about sadness and grief. All right, I've been doing a lot of that one lately. And the little one is all about, the word I've put here is trying. It's about striving. When you're just working too hard, trying too hard, striving too hard, pushing too hard, you just need to give yourself a bit of a break. So what I'd like to do is invite you to practice with me. We're either going to do 2 full breaths in, don't rush it, and a full breath out. And as you breathe out, my invitation to you is to soften and drop your shoulders, like really feel that. So let's get started. So let's take one of your thumbs, pop it into the opposite hand. Let's take a nice deep breath in, expand your belly, and release fully. Another breath in. Close your eyes if you can, and just allow yourself to feel this experience and release fully. Let's switch hands, put the other thumb in the opposite hand, take a nice deep breath in. And what we're doing here is releasing worry. Breathe out. Breathe in fully. And breathe out worry. Just notice how your body feels. Okay, let's take your pointer finger and place it in the middle of the other hand. Take a nice deep breath in. Breathing calm. And breathe out fear. Nice deep breath in. And release fear. Switching pointer finger to the other hand. Breathe in fully. Breathe out fear. Breathe in love. And breathe out fear. Beautiful. Let's take the middle finger into the palm of your hand. Breathe in fully. And release any anger. Breathe in fully. And release. That's it. Switching middle finger into the other palm. Breathe in deep. And release any anger. Breathe in. And release. Notice your body. That's it. Take your ring finger into the palm of your hand. Take a deep breath in. And release any sadness or grief. Take another deep breath in. And release. Switching over, ring finger into the opposite palm, breathing in. Release any grief or sadness. Breathe in fully. And let it go. Taking the little finger into the opposite palm, take a nice deep breath in. And release any trying and striving that's going on. Breathe in deep. And breathe out, striving. Good. The last little finger into the opposite palm. Take a deep breath in. And release all the trying that's going on in your life right now. One more deep breath in. And release. Good. Let's rub our hands together. Let's get some heat happening. And then just shake them out. All right. Loosen up your neck and shoulders. And I want you to just now notice your body. How's your body feeling? Just type in the chat box. How's your body feeling? Did you actually feel a release? Some of these emotions in the body? It looks like such a simple practice. Seriously, it really is. And you can do it literally anywhere, right? And now you've actually got the clues. The acronym is Releasing Worry Fast. Worry is the thumb, F for fear, A for anger, S for sadness, and the T is trying and striving. So it's a really nice, easy way of releasing some of the emotional blocks that get caught up in the body. So if it's okay with you, I want to just press on because I'm noticing the time and I could be here all day just sharing this with you. The other practice that I want to share with you is literally a practice of letting go. Like we're inching into it. What I'm about to share with you is going to sound simplistic, and it is simple, but it's actually not easy. It actually takes practice because, as you see in this picture here, oftentimes we're holding on to things, thinking we've got to keep holding on to stay strong. But actually, it hurts us more when we hold on to blocks and how we want things to be, and we're arguing with reality. Sometimes what we need to do is literally just let go. And it sounds simple. It really does. So I'm going to do a practice with you right now. So I want you to bring to mind something that you're finding a little challenging to let go of right now. And as you think of this thing that you're finding yourself kind of holding on to, I want you, based on what we've been doing already today, I want you to notice, where is it blocked? Is it in your head? Is it in your throat? Is it in your heart? Is it somewhere in your belly? Notice where the blockage is, right? And I want you now this is only going to take less than a minute. I want you to close down your eyes and just tune into that part of your body where you notice this energy block, this thing that you can't seem to let go of is being stored in your body. I just want you to notice where it is. I want you to forget about the storyline. I want you to forget about the narrative that you're telling yourself about it. I want you to forget about why you've been holding on to it for so long. I just want you to notice where the energy block is in your body. Just tune into that. And then I want you to simply give a command. And the command is, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. We're talking to the body, the fact that the body's been holding on to this energy block. And we're just going to say, let it go. Let it go. No judgment. No narrative. Just let go of the energy that's being blocked. We're not trying to solve anything or fix anything. We just want to clear your channel. Let it go. Open your eyes, and I want you to notice what happened when all you did was tune into where the block was in your body, and all you did without any judgment was say, let it go. What happened? Share with me in the chat box, because it almost feels too simple, doesn't it? Less tense, more open, more relaxed, slowed down. Seriously, the muscles released a bit. You know, this takes practice, and this is why at the beginning I said to you, are you willing? Are you open? And are you ready to create a shift? Because sometimes the brain will try to make it harder than it really is. Everything is energy, and you are in charge, right? I can't stress that enough. I don't want you to be in the back seat anymore, allowing these blocks and experiences to actually block your flow of having that clear channel to wisdom and guidance and freedom that you can have in this lifetime. You deserve liberation, and today's your opportunity to do it. So I want to congratulate you and acknowledge you for giving it a try, because you've got these now. You're going to get the recording, and you're going to be able to practice these as often as you want. So I just want to wrap up with a few things, and I've got another little story. So the thing I've got here is your energy field. You're in charge of this. No one gets in here without your consent. So if you notice anything getting in there, you decide what you're going to do with it. Are you going to keep being the carrier of these things, or are you going to start now tuning in a different way and just clearing it out so that your channel is open and you can learn the lessons you need to learn and let everything else go, so it doesn't need to block your expression and your light in this world? So a couple of things I want to share. So remember, it's all in the power of your focus. What you focus on gets fueled, okay? This is where your freedom comes from, when you can actually let it go. Couple of things if you want to keep going. There's Calm. I've got a program called Calm Your Farm, which is 31 days of practices. They're all different. They go from 4 minutes, I think is the shortest one, through to about half an hour. And that's online. You can go and check that out if you want to. I've got a book called Enliven You, which it's one of the things I absolutely love. And it covers things like life lessons, acceptance and pain, fear, all sorts of things. And it's a wonderful little book of, I will say it's an inspirational book. I've also got a downloadable audio book, which has got 4 meditation files in it called Simple Meditation for Busy People. And this will show you how to shut off all that noise and actually get into clear space, only for 4 minutes. That's all you need to do. If you can do more than 4, you're doing well, but 4 minutes is all you need. And the last thing I want to say is, you know what? I love this little picture that came from the Wizard of Oz story. You know, you've always had the power. You just had to learn it for yourself. And so before I finish off today, there's one more story that I want to share with you. So let me find it. It is called The Carrot, the Egg, and the Coffee Bean. And I don't know if you've heard this one before, but it's pretty cool. So let me share it with you. Here it is. A young woman went to her mother and told her about her life and how things were so hard for her. She didn't know how she was going to make it and wanted to give up. She was tired of fighting and struggling, and it seemed as one problem got solved, then there was another one. Her mother took her to the kitchen. She filled up 3 pots with water, and in the first pot, she placed carrots. In the second pot, she placed eggs. And in the last one, she put some ground coffee beans. She let them sit and boil without saying anything, and in about 20 minutes, she turned off the burners. She fished out the carrots and placed them in a bowl. She pulled out the eggs and placed them in a bowl. And then she ladled the coffee into a bowl. Turning to her daughter, she asked her, "Tell me what you see." The daughter said, "Carrots, eggs, and coffee." She brought her closer and she asked her to feel the carrots. She did, and she noted that they were soft. She then took her to the egg, and then she asked her to break it. And after pulling off the shell, she observed that it was hard-boiled egg. Finally, she asked her to sip the coffee, and the daughter smiled as she tasted the rich aroma. The daughter asked, "Well, what's the point of this, Mum?" Her mum simply explained that each of these objects had faced the same adversity, the boiling water, but each of them reacted differently. The carrot went in strong and hard and unrelenting. However, after being subjected to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg had been fragile. Its thin outer shell had protected its liquid interior, but after being through the boiling water, its inside became hardened. The ground coffee beans were unique. After they were put in the boiling water, they actually changed the water. "Which are you?" she asked her daughter. "When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you like a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean?" So think of this, which are you? Which am I? Am I the carrot that seems strong, but with pain and adversity, do I wilt and become soft and lose my strength? Am I the egg that starts with a malleable heart, but changes with the heat? Did I have a fluid spirit, but after death or a breakup or a financial hardship or some other trial, have I become hardened and stiff? Does my shell look the same, but on the inside, am I bitter and tough with a stiff spirit and a hardened heart? Or am I like a coffee bean? The bean actually changes the hot water, the very circumstance that brings the pain. When the water gets hot, it releases the fragrance and the flavor. And if you're like the bean, when things are at their worst, you get better and you change the situation around you. So when the hours are the darkest and trials are at their greatest, do you elevate to another level? How do you handle adversity? So in the chat box, I want you to tell me, are you the carrot, the egg, or the coffee bean? Beautiful. So we've covered a lot today. Things are never as bad as they seem, and they're never as great either. So maintaining our perspective on things really helps us overcome adversity if we feel struggle. So, when it rains, it pours, but maybe the art of life is actually to convert tough times to great experiences. And we get to choose to either hate the rain or to dance in it, right? So let's choose to dance in the rain. Or in this case, let's learn to drink the coffee. So everything that comes in our life, whether it's good or bad, actually holds a teaching. And if we're mindful enough to give it our full presence with an open and curious mind without judgment, right, we can actually get the lesson and keep that flow, our central channel happening, right? So before I leave you with some parting words, I really want to thank you for sharing this space with me today. I hope you've really enjoyed learning and actually clearing some of these energy blocks. I actually look forward to connecting with you again sometime. But in the meantime, you can remember to listen to this recording and practice what I've been sharing with you. And remember just to keep your hearts open and be gentle with yourself, and let's carry each other in our hearts. So if you'd like to put your cameras on, I'd love to see you as we wave goodbye. And I'll share this last slide with you as well. It's wonderful to see your faces. So let me just put this last slide up. Here we go. Pain in life is inevitable. That's how we get to learn and grow. Suffering is optional. We do that to ourselves. But growth is intentional. You get to choose that, right? And remember, it's not what happens to you that defines you. It's how you respond that counts. So shine on. Great to see you all today. I hope that you will practice these practices, and I bid you wellness and happiness and lots of flow and light in your lives. So bye for now. Bye-bye.